All right. Testing. Are we good? Are we live? I think we're live. Let's see. I want to see the lag and delay. Let's see the reaction from the chat. Are we live, chat? Are we good? Man, it's a pretty long delay. Like 10 seconds already? Could have made it faster. Shit. Okay. What's up? Oh, I think we're hitting it. All right. We're good now. All right. Thank you so much. Ladies and germs. Thank you so much for rocking out with your boy on this fine 4th of July stuff. So first, to everybody in America, happy 4th of July. To everybody else, rest in the world, blessings. I hope everything's great. I hope you're enjoying time with your family. The freedoms and the rights and privileges and all the things that are great in your country. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know 4th of July specifically for America, right? But for everyone else, I just wish you guys the best. And I hope you guys are enjoying stuff. For us, it's a 4-day weekend. Well, at least for me, some people, many Americans are off today. Some have to go back to work tomorrow. I don't. So it's a 4-day weekend for me. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. My wife is working right now. But she gets off in a couple of hours, which is why I'm able to do a live, because I'm here alone by myself, wife at work. I got time today. I got time to enjoy a little bit of time for you. Okay. Now, you guys know that some serious topics I stay away from, but I think this topic is important to address. I think this topic is what you might call it, worth the discussion. All right. But with that, before we get to it real quick, I want to say thank you so much for rocking out with me. Thank you so much for joining on this live. If you don't mind, please hit the like button, share this out. If you're on my Twitter account or you follow me, please retweet the post of me having this live so we could get more people in the discussion. I think the more people we get in, right, it's really important, right? Because I think this is important discussion. There's a lot of people that are misrepresenting, or not even misrepresenting, really don't understand what happened recently. And I hope this live, me being the professor, is to help you out so you guys have a better understanding of what's going on and stuff. The vast amount of noise and outrage that's happening on Twitter and what's going through social media. So hopefully this video will clear some things up and just fundamentally learn something new. Okay, now why am I doing this? I'm gonna tell you why. It's just a coincidence. Believe it or not, this topic is coincidental. All right, okay, its topic is coincidental. Shout out to Overdone. He says, I still don't understand that picture, and that's outstanding. That's actually a good thing, Overdone, that you admit that you're not fully understanding what is going on, what it's trying to do. That is what this video is for. That is what this live is for. So I'm glad you said that. Most people, believe it or not, the majority don't understand this picture either, but they already attacking it, or they already made their own perception of what this means, and they're saying it's wrong without fully understanding. Now, back to what I was saying, there's a reason why I want to do this video, because it's coincidental. Now, what's the coincidence? The coincidence, recently I just completed my Bachelor of Science in Information Technology Management. I had to do papers on this, right? There's a lot of topics while I was going to finishing my degree in the university that touch on this stuff, along with human-computer interaction, UX design, the history of UX design and stuff like that. Think about it this way. In the degree of Information Technology Management, I will be, in the workforce, right? Part of teams, project management, information, technology, infrastructure, things like that. So you have to have a fundamental concept and understanding of all that stuff. So this topic just so happens to align with what I've been doing over the last 3.5 years when I was going for my degree. And yes, I finally finished my last class, so I have more time for games. That was like my main thing over the last 3 years, balancing college, being active duty Marine, whatever my wife wants to do, playing video games, doing podcasts. It was just a lot of stuff, right, going on. Now college is over, right? It takes about 8 weeks for them to certify my degree, and then my actual graduation ceremony is in October in Atlanta. So I have to fly out in Atlanta for my commencement ceremony, which I will ask. At first, I wasn't going to do it, but you know what? My wife convinced me. She said, you spent a lot of weekends doing this stuff. You deserve it. I'm like, cool. So I'll be in Atlanta in October. Anyway, it's coincidence. It's just coincidence that this topic was like, holy shit. This is the shit I wrote papers on. This is the shit I studied. It's crazy. It's just a coincidence, right? So I want to talk about it. It just feels good to actually be educated in something that's factual, actually learn something. Like the course blew my mind on just some of the, how technology progressed and the science behind it. You will not believe how old some of the concepts that are still being used today. They're like literally centuries old and stuff like that. It's just amazing. It's a great thing. But we're going to touch on this real quick, right? But anyway, to those who are saying congrats, Pre-Rock, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of work. College is not easy for, I understand the hard work you have to put in college, but then going to college and being a full-time, employed, adult, right? That's just challenging, right? Being a Marine, active duty Marine, and still trying to get your degree, that is very challenging. But I would imagine it's challenging all across the board for everyone else. So for all the adults that are working, still raising kids and going to college, believe me, I know the struggle. But keep going is worth it, and stuff like that, right? But anyway, what I want to do, right, is the first thing I want to say. First, keep an open mind. I know some of you's coming in, ready to fight, ready to argue. Can we go back to simply saying, all right, let me hear what you got to say. I have a perception of what's going on, but let me play devil's advocate. Let me do some critical analysis. We're just going to listen. All right, explain something. We're going to absorb it. We're going to listen. And then we'll critique after that. Then we can have the discussion, whatever. That's why I wanted to do this live for a Q&A session, stuff like that, right? And if some people want to jump on, right now I have the Discord locked, but I can open it up if people want to jump on and have a verbal voice conversation. Either way. But that's the reason why I want to do it. So hit up the chat, but let me go through my little spiel first, okay? And then we could get this going, all right? But again, hit the like button, please. Share this out, and let's have the conversation. So, where did this begin? This began with Alana Pierce, right? Really Elden Ring, and talking about having a pause option for those in the offline mode, right? And Alana Pierce mentioned on Twitter how not having a pause button falls under a situational disability and stuff like that, right? And this got posted, and she used the parent scenario, and then that once she mentioned that, that's it. The train, the boat left the dock. The train left the station. And then that's it. And more often than not, it's just the outrage, right? People took her comment as a specific way, addressing something, and people just ran with it, right? So now you have this whole huge misunderstanding. So what misunderstanding do we have? Well, I'll use one example. I'll use Alex, right? Oh no, it's Alex, right? He's one of the main guys that's out there, who misconstrued what she's trying to say. He took it for what he thought it was, as much as a lot of other people, and ran with it. Okay. In this example, he says, I'm not confusing adjective with a noun. I was being an asshole. Again, children are not to be used as a form of disability, even situational. A responsible parent will simply not play video games when they're caring for children, right? I made another point. Your kids are not a situation nor a disability, right? So he's replying to all these people. He even made a video. Parents are disabled if babies stop them from playing video games. And then that's his video, right? So you see all the comments he did, right? But he's not the only one. Talking right here with Dogborn. He says, but having a kid isn't a disability. If that's the case, me having pets means I'm fully disabled. It's a dumbass argument. Having kids can be an inconvenience, but it's not a disability. It's unfair for people with real disabilities, okay? So what's the problem? What is the conversation everybody having? What is the argument? The argument is when she brought this up, everybody took it as A. Everybody took it as A. The technology industry, Microsoft, whoever, is trying to redefine what a disabled person is. They're trying to be inclusive. They're trying to cater people so that way they can feel like they're part of this group. So that way, let's say in one picture, a new parent, because you became a new parent, you can feel you're part of the disabled group along with the one person with the one arm. That is basically the main argument here. Everybody took this as trying to redefine what a person is when it comes to a disability. That is not what this picture represents at all. That is not what Alana Pierce tried to say at all. This has nothing to do, absolutely zero. I am telling you, zero, absolutely zero of redefining people and how should we look at people on a day-to-day basis. This is not trying to advocate that a bartender should get a handicap plate, no different than a person who's deaf, or try to get some type of government benefit or government assistance. Is the same. That is exactly not what's happening at all. At all. This is not trying to define parents as disabled, as actual people disabled, right? Not even close. You know what I'm saying? All right. Right. Again, I'm just trying to pay attention to chat. Listen to what I'm saying. This has absolute zero point in trying to redefine people so that way society can accept these new parameters. Not at all. Completely off. So all this conversation of saying kids are not a situational disability, they're not. In the context of society, how we run life, they're not. Absolutely. All right. What we are doing, what this is actually for, is for designers of technology. This is who this is for. This has nothing to do with us. Maybe one day, once I'm done with my career in the military and I'm in the civilian workforce, and hopefully the degree, puts me in a nice job, right? I will be part of this. But for now, this has nothing to do with us. This has to deal with industries, with designers who go around thinking of how to improve quality of life. Okay. This, what you see here, and this is for Overdone, this is what you call as a framework. Now, let me put the definition of a framework here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Okay. A framework. The definition of a framework is an essential supporting structure of a building, vehicle, object. Not so much applies to this, but this is the next one. A basic structure underlying a system, concept, or text. Okay. Right. What this does, and then people ask in the simple term, what is a framework? In general, a framework is a real or conceptual structure intended to serve as a support or guide for the building of something that expands the structure into something useful. That is what this is. This is a framework. This is what allows designers to organize something so they could look at a scenario and then start thinking, how can we make things? How can we use technology? How can we design applications? Whether it's in the automobile industry, hospitality, hospitals, tech, whatever, to make things better for certain groups. So now let me explain how designers are looking at this. When a designer looks at this, they look at it as a framework like, okay, we got scenarios of disability. All right. So what are the scenarios of disability? Again, it's not to define a person, it's to define a situation. How can we look at it? In the industry, in this case, Microsoft, but many industries have a similar framework, and they say to themselves, well, there's 3 types of scenarios where people can find themselves disabled. The first one is permanent, the second one is temporary, and the third one is situational. Permanent means that this situation is what it is, permanent, usually caused by the physical, disability, whether you're born that way or an accident causes it that way. So, for example, we'll use touch. So one disability of touch is permanent, is having one arm or even no arms, right? You lost the ability for touch because you don't have the limb. A temporary scenario is arm injuries. It's not permanent, but given this window, such as a broken arm, well, for the next couple of months, you don't have this capability to use for your arm. And then there's situational, all right? In a certain situation, you don't have the use of your arms because, again, of the situation. And they use an example as a new parent. Carrying groceries is another example. Now, this is not to say that designers are trying to make the argument that a person carrying 2 bags of groceries or a grocery and a baby is the same to be defined from a personal society level as a person who came back from war and lost their arm. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're framing, something so that way they can invent something, right? To create technology to improve quality of life. So, for example, I'll give you an example, okay? And Malice says it's still a DI initiative. See, I'm going to end that because this is older than the term DEI. You're talking about something that's been around for decades, even centuries. This is not new. See, Malice Flair, this is exactly what I'm talking about, the misinformation. This is older than DEI. The term DEI didn't even exist when this type of thought process was being used. This is all concepts of user design and improving stuff. Okay? This is not about DEI. This is about designers of technology creating stuff to make quality life better. So, for example, somebody thinking, okay, somebody buys a product. Somebody's in a situation where they can't use their hands, whether they're holding a kid or they have groceries. How can we make things better and create technology to say, hey, because you're in this situation and we understand this situation doesn't enable you to do stuff, we got this. Let me show you a video. Enter the hands-free sliding door. That was introduced in Chrysler Pacifica and Pacifica Hybrid in 2022.
When you've got an armload of groceries or luggage, the optional hands-free sliding doors and liftgate let you open your vehicle without having to fumble for your keys, or even the door handle. There are separate activation zones, one below each of the sliding doors, and one below the center of the liftgate. If equipped with a trailer tow package, you'll find the liftgate's hands-free activation zones on the left and right sides of the receiver. To open either of the hands-free sliding doors or the liftgate, you'll need to have the key fob on your person within 5 feet or 1.5 meters of the door or liftgate handle. Move your foot under the activation zone in a straight, gentle, in and out kicking motion, or use a side-to-side or sweeping motion. The sliding doors or liftgate will power open. Keep in mind, you can turn this feature on and off in your Uconnect settings. This video is not intended to take the place of your owner's manual.
This is an example of what we got because of this. That's an example. We got that from the van because somebody looked at this chart, they had a framework, and they said to themselves, in this scenario, in this situation, what can we do to make this car more attractive? Somebody thought, hey, people who buy a Chrysler Pacifica most likely tend to be family oriented. It's not going to be an 18 to 20-year-old, right? That's ready to buy their first car. Most likely not. That's not the actual target group, right? Most likely it's families, people with kids. They want the space. Why do they want a vehicle this type? Because they do a lot of shopping, a lot of groceries. So in a situation where you have families, you're doing shopping, your hands are occupied, how can we create this vehicle to be more comfortable, to improve the quality of life? Hey, I know. Why don't we use our feet? You got your hands full, you just use your foot, wave it a little bit, boom, the door opens. Put your grocery in, you put your kid in, boom. A little bit of quality of life. Does that mean that they're trying to say, oh, parents are irresponsible or they don't know how to plan? Or how about you just leave the stuff in a grocery cart and then open the door with your hands and then, like, really? We're going to nitpick and complain about advancements of quality of life and just make things easier. That is all what this is about. It's just a bunch of people graduating from MIT. They sit in a room and they start penning ideas. They start thinking, what are some issues and problems and stuff like that? Okay, let's go into the here category, right? You got people who are deaf, you got people who are with ear infections, you got people, bartenders, right? They're not trying to say a bartender deserves a handicap, license plate, or should have, some type of handicap privileges. What they are saying that, hey, in this situation, an environment with a lot of noise, and it's not just limited to bartenders, it could be people, mechanics who work in the airline industry with loud jets and all this stuff going on. People in the military, in the middle of operations and stuff like that, especially with weapons, lots of loud weapons and all this stuff just going on. How can we improve this situation where we can drown out all this noise improve communication between people in this situation where pretty much because of the environment, your hearings went to shit. It's not useful in this scenario. Now, they're not trying to say, oh, poor bartender, oh, poor Marine in the middle of operation, oh, poor airplane mechanic, you're no different than the deaf guy. No, that's not what this is about. That's not even the conversation. It's just a bunch of people with the brain power and the capacity to create technology and improve quality of life. And they look at various different scenarios, right? You got those who are creating technologies for the deaf. What is it? The cochlear, advancements. And there's even people trying to create more advanced stuff to give hearing to the deaf. You got people with ear infections. Hey, what technologies are there to treat ear infections? And while you're going through this, have the ability to hear and stuff like that. It's all across the board. It's just simply a framework to improve quality of life. And this is not a new topic. All right. Right here, this is all overarching the study of UX design, which is actually centuries old. All right. Right here in this website, you can learn. This is from the UX Design Institute. You can learn about the history of the user experience. And this goes back into the BC era. Right. Okay. But to talk about more recent stuff, all of this over here are just examples of people sitting back and asking themselves, how can we make things better? What are the scenarios of improving the quality of life to get things done? Right? This right here, when we see inclusive, this is just further advancement of something that's just been happening for centuries. It's just more advancements. It's just more people coming out with more ideas, being innovative and thinking beyond what's what we could have decades ago, whatever. People are now newer generations are thinking, hey, but what about these people, or what about this situation? That's all science does. That's how we progress. Many of the stuff that we have today that are quality of life improvements is because people sat at a table, broke it down in a chart, in a framework, right? Now, this isn't like a universal standard for everybody, right? This is Microsoft, and I know other companies use this same situation. Other companies have more advanced, more in-depth ones. Some are more simple. But overall, they're all intended for one thing only, for designers to have a framework so they could sit down, right? Look at scenarios that people go through, and they ask themselves, what technology or what stuff that we have that we can put together to make that easier. This is not about, as Alex said, be a responsible parent. Okay, that has that. It's not about claiming your kids a disability and stuff like that, right? A responsible parent will simply not play video games. No, it has nothing to do with that. Okay, so now let's talk about what we are closely aligned to: the video game. The conversation came up with simply the pause button not being an Elden Ring, right? Which is considered a situational disability. That's not technically a negative term in itself. It's just a reality, right? And it's not just limited to new parents. It's anything. You're playing a Souls game. You're playing any online game. Some games, there's nothing you can do about it. That situational disability is inherent to some games. For example, when you play online multiplayer on Call of Duty, not being able to pause to stop the game, that's just how it is. There's nothing around it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just categorized. And designers ask themselves if there's something we can do about it. So, for example, when you're playing Call of Duty online, right? The game is action, whatever. Designers ain't looking on how to improve that. There's nothing you can do. You play online, it is what it is. The kid's crying, you better drop that controller and tend to your kid. Somebody rings on the doorbell, you got to answer the door. Your phone rings, answer the phone. Sorry, the industry can't help you with that. That's just how it is. Now, in the case of Elden Ring, if you're playing Elden Ring online, nothing we can do about it. You're going to get invaded. You tend to your kid, you answer the doorbell, the phone rings, you walk away, an invader comes and kills you. Oh well, designers ain't trying to improve that. But in offline mode, Elden Ring offline mode, that's a different scenario. If you decide to play the game offline mode, you don't want the invasion, you don't want the online interactivity, a designer could be like, you know what? We could implement a pause button. Doesn't impact the difficulty, doesn't impact the challenge. We could improve the quality of life in that scenario if they choose to. In this case, From Software didn't. That's their choice. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay. But again, those are designer decisions. That's what designer looks at. They say, hey, we can do something about it, or it's not really worth to do anything about it, or you can't do anything about it. But what this is not is what I said in the beginning. This is not redefining people. This is not saying, well, if you're a parent and you want a pause button, you're just an irresponsible parent. Well, like what? Like, stop it. That has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do at all. Sekiro had a pause button. You could pause the game. It didn't impact the game at all. Okay? Now, whether or not Elden Ring should have a pause feature in offline mode, that's up to the designers. I'm pretty sure many of them are doing the same thing. Maybe in their own way. Maybe not this design as Microsoft. Remember, maybe From Software and all them, they have their own versions or whatever. And they decide if it's worth it or not. If it's worth implementing. Or if it's even, a feature for them. For example, going back to the caravan, right? What is this feature for, right? So what you see here, right? You see a person using their foot to open a door so they can, put their groceries or whatever in their kids in, okay? So who is this for? This is for, looking at the framework, this is for people who are potentially with arm injury or new parents, right? Or one arm. Who is this not for? This is probably not for people with both arms missing or paralyzed from the neck down, because you're not going to be driving this car. So they didn't design this for this group of people, but they designed it for this group. People who only have one arm, or people who, again, the new parent category, or just shopping and all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? This is the framework of how designers start thinking and looking to create new stuff. But everybody on the internet took it as, oh, you're just trying to, as Malin says, this is just DEI. You just want to be inclusive people. The designers don't give a damn about that. They just want to create technology, profit off of technology, but also make enhancements that makes everything better for society. Okay? That's it. All right? Now, right here, people got defending Microsoft. No, this is just including with just Microsoft. This is defending technology. You guys are literally some I'm not going to say you specifically, but the people who are arguing against this, you're literally arguing over the technology industry that provided better quality of life for you guys. That's what's crazy. We are enjoying many of the benefits of accessibility and capabilities that we have. Bluetooth, voice activating, Bluetooth in a car where hands-free on your phone. It's because of this. People, like for example, this one they say C and they use distracted driver, right? But people who are driving, you don't want to be distracted. Your phone rings. Well, you got Bluetooth connectivity. You can actually talk because the car now has built-in microphones and speakers. You don't need to actually grab your phone and keep driving. Those are some of the examples of user design and what industry does for us, right? Now they even, advanced it to where the phone, when you get text, the car will read the text for you. And you can voice and write the text through your voice. Receive text from your wife. Hey, don't forget to pick up milk. I need milk and this, that, and third before you come home. Hey, reply back to my wife. Hey, I already picked up the milk and I already got the seasonings. UX design. Quality of life. Simplicity. That's it. Right? That's it. All right? That's it. That's what this is all about. A lot of people are outraged, and I think many of them just want to argue. Sometimes you got to stop being outraged. You got to first be like, hold up. What is the topic? What are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? Like, what is this about? Learn about it, understand it, and then you realize, oh, I got it. This is just really for tech geeks, and they do what they do to create stuff. Got it. This actually has nothing to do with trying to redefine a population, so that way we start talking and saying, oh man, you just have a baby? Oh damn, that means you're disabled. Go get a handicap license plate. No one's trying to do that. That's not what it is. All right. So now that I got the whole basis out, okay, hey, any questions? Any Q&A on this stuff? Right, hit the like button. Let's see if there's any question. Is there anything that people didn't understand? I wasn't clear about? Do you want me to break this thing down? Okay. Again, look at this picture from a creator's perspective. Imagine if you guys had to invent something. Imagine somebody's paying you $300,000 a year and they say, hey, I need you to figure out scenarios in this chart and give me some ideas of how we can accommodate and improve stuff. That's literally it. This is literally for designers across the industries, you know, whether it's car, automotive, airline, hospitality, military. It's a whole broad stuff, right? All right, break it down for people who understand. Okay, so let's say, for example, let me see. We're in a communications business, right? We want to create technology that helps people communicate, you know, and get, you know, communication going, whether it's through Teams, online. Just how can we get people to have better communications and stuff like that, right? So let's say we're that. So now we're at the table. We look at the 3 categories of speak. So now we got 3 situations where people, you know, are disabled when it comes to speaking. The one is permanent. Those are the people who are mute. They cannot talk at all, right? So we got to think what technologies we can create to get people who can't talk at all. Obviously, people who can't talk, they have sign language, right? You see them do their little sign language and stuff like that. But not everybody knows sign language, okay? So what if, you know, to accommodate people who do sign language, right? We're like, you know what? What if we create a program that can be used with any lens, whether it's, you know, Apple's Vision, MetaQuest, any type of lens. And the people wear it, and as a mute person does their thing, the lens interprets the sign language, and you have your earpiece, and it is speaking in a Alexa type voice. Would that not improve the quality of life of nonverbal people, right? To communicate more where the majority of the world do not speak sign language, right? Especially if you're in a customer service, right? Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say where we work in a store, right? We work in a store. We have a franchise store across, right? And we want to whatchamacallit and stuff. Uh-oh, is my wife home early? You better not quit. No, I'm playing. No.
There was too many people and it's too low. It's 4th of July.
Okay.
So there's so.
Oh, nice. All right, cool. All right. So now let's say like, I think she quit. Now I'm lying. But let's say we have a chain store, right? And for some reason, we attract a lot of people who are mute. But we go to a company and be like, hey, we want our people at the register, you know, the people who work for our company to better communicate with mute people, because we can't hire enough people that know sign language. It's very challenging to find that many people. So the company's thinking, okay, all right. P-Rock's wife crashing the stream, right? People are like, okay. The company goes, we have an idea. What if we offer you a professional looking glasses or lens, right? That actually tracks sign language and it speaks to your representatives. So now it talks or whatever, right? And then, okay, they can actually respond to back, you know, to the people. Now, granted, the person has to hear, but we accommodate something. So now people come in, they're mute, they're like, whatever, you tell them, hey, do sign language. They do the sign language, the glasses interprets the language, you hear what they're saying, and then you can speak to them. You accommodated that, okay? Now, let's go over to the situational. Let's say you expand your brand, whatever, and they're in regions where people have a heavy accent. Let's say like the deep south, right? You're in the mountains of Montana. Thick ass shit, right? Let's say you have like an earpiece or something that filters out and better translates, you know, this thick accent and all that stuff. So now the person who's providing the service can better understand the customer. And now they can actually talk back, you know, and just have better lines of communication. That's it. That's an example, Mary, of what I'm talking about. It's just people sitting down, looking at certain scenarios, right? And figure out how can we improve quality of life. And it's been that way. It's been that way for eons. All right. two things that when I went to school, when I was going for my degree, was pretty much, this UX design. They went heavy, and I had to write papers on UX design. And it's incredible, how human civilization has always, in some form or another, thought about how can we make things easier from a perspective of physical, mental, and even emotional. Yes, there is a whole science, and this is another one right here on human computer interaction, right? This is a whole science in of itself that was taught, right? And this is not new. This goes back until like the early 1980s, right? And they include cognitive science, human fact engineering. This was a whole course in of itself, right? This was an 8-week course in itself. There's no way I could crunch this down into a live, right? But if you want, you can look it up. You can look up, this is a great website, interactiondesign.org. Great information on just how the progress of science and stuff like that, and how there's an industry that just sits there and think not only how a person can physically interact, but how the technology makes a person feel. In fact, that's called affordance. That is literally whatchamacallit. Affordance is how it's supposed to be used, and then there's how it makes you feel. Give me a second. Effective computing. I think it's called effective computing. That one blew my mind. Let me look at effective computing. Okay, this one right here, effective computing, right? There's a science, and this one that says allows machines process, interpret, and analyze human behavior and emotions, right? In this case, there's literally, designers that create products, right, based on how ultimately it will make a person feel. And therefore, you want to use our product. Yes, they're designing products over feelings, right? For example, you go on a chat application, right? Let's say you try to do customer service, right? A lot of it is AI now, right? At least the first initial stages, right? But if you notice, they try to talk to you like if they're human. Like, hey, I have this problem. I need to, refund this. The chat goes, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Please, I hope I'm able to help you. Can you give me more whatever? Why is an AI chatbot sorry? You have no feelings. The chatbot doesn't have a feelings. When that thing only replies, sorry to hear about that. Hopefully we can help you out with this. Motherfucker, you ain't got no emotions. You're not really sorry. But the science of effective computing has shown that people positively react to those statements. This shit is crazy. I'm telling you, this shit is diabolical. What they're doing out there. Diabolical. Right? Blew my mind on how technology is created, right? All of this is an overarching science that ultimately makes things better. That's all it is. So people got outraged over this. Let's see. Are there any other questions that I missed? Let me go back through the chat. Damn, P-Rock's a question in the stream. Yeah. Listen, P-Rock, I have a learning disability and I have ADHD and to have to improve my learning. Disability would be amazing. It would be helpful to me. All right. Yes, if technology can help you improve ADHD, yes. So from a design perspective, right, it would be great for them to create stuff for you in case, right? But I don't want you to think that this chart or any technology company that is doing this is trying to say that you are no different than, let's say, a guy, doing a job or whatever. They're not trying to compare you with other people or redefine people. They're just trying to create technologies for better quality of life based on given scenarios. Fuck that. It's amazing to me that this shit has to be explained. So, that's a good point. But the problem is, it's not so much you don't know, because a lot of this stuff I didn't know either. I'll be honest, I didn't know. I didn't think about this. It was because of the degree I went for that I learned about this stuff. But I think the main problem is, Buck, is that people aren't willing to no longer say, all right, hold on. What do you mean by that? Explain. They went after and just thrashed Alana Pierce for a statement. No, you're wrong. Being a parent's not disabled. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. This is stupid. And then you got the mob. But nobody decided to say, Alana, what are you talking about? Explain. And then Alana will say, hey, in the technical industry, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. Because I was assuming you were trying to do this, but thank you for the clarification. End of story. That's the problem. You know, there's going to be a lot of stuff we don't understand, we don't know. We have to focus on, wait, hold up. What are you talking about? Explain. Do you have a reference? Where can I read up on this? And then when you read up and learn, you're thinking, oh, my bad. Okay, I thought you were trying to say that a parent is actually disabled. Got it. This is just tech industry stuff on how they make and create things. All right, whatever. Got it. Keep doing what you're doing. End of story. But people don't do that no more. People will argue on a point that they made up themselves in their own head and then say the person, you're wrong. When the person's like, whatever's in your head, you're wrong. That's not what I'm saying. And that's why it ended up happening. That's why in this case, I wanted to talk about it because this actually helps us. This actually improves quality of life for all of us. We are enjoying things in life because of the industry doing this stuff. And yet we're mad about it. But only because the people who are upset didn't even bother to learn about it and just put in a little bit of research and a little bit of fundamental understanding on what's being talked about and what's being said. Instead, they went straight to the outrage and they tried to bash her. And in my opinion, that is just crazy that people wouldn't take the time to actually learn what she was trying to say. They went straight into the argument. So ultimately, like Alex and all you people arguing, you guys are arguing over something, over a scenario that don't exist. You guys are literally mad over something that's not existing. My bad, Neil. He says Montana's in the West. I'm from the South. Listen, man, I'm from New York, man. Anything outside of New York is the South. No, I'm lying. Okay. So we got Foreground. He says exactly at Kenneth Paris. A new parent is simply a life situation that gets in the way of a lot of stuff. You make the decision when you become a parent, right? Hey, that's fair enough. But that has nothing to do with designers. Again, designers are not trying to change your normal everyday speak. They're not even trying to change your view. If that's how you feel being a parent is, designers are not in that conversation. In fact, like I said, this is not about you. This is about designers on how they frame things, right? And provide a structure so that they can build technology that accommodates these scenarios. No one's trying to change, like being a parent is not a disability. No one's telling you to categorize a new parent as a disability. It is not for you. It's not for anyone. Okay? This is for designers. This is for the people in the technology and across industries who wants to create technologies or use technologies, applications, and scenarios to create a better life or a better quality of life for people given this stuff. This is just structure. No one's trying to change your language. No one's trying to say that from this point on, you're going to look at new parents as a disabled person. No one's doing that. It's not for you. It's not to change everyday speak. Again, it is not to change everyday speak. But now, if you're still outraged and you're going to be like, no, it's still wrong. Industry, you're going to change it. They're not going to listen to you. And you want to know why they're not going to listen to you? Because you're going to buy their products and enjoy the technology they create. That's why. You're going to still use the shit they create. You're going to enjoy voice activation. You're going to enjoy touchless technology. You're going to enjoy all of that. All the stuff they're inventing. Because of this framework, you're going to pay that money. Your money's going into this. It's been going into this for decades. Decades. Your money. All of us. We are all enjoying the fruits and labor of this system. So we can stop with the outrage on the internet because your money speaks dollar. Now, if you're really, really outraged, stop buying all these quality life issues. That means no AI activation, no voice, get rid of Alexa, right? Get rid of Siri, turn all that off, turn off all the touchless stuff, right? Get rid of all that stuff. You're going to do that because you're going to have a shitty life and all this stuff, right? Come on now. Again, understand what the topic is, right? This is not about for normal everyday speak. This is not how we now need to view society at the personal government level. This is not about now we got to create more handicap spaces for bartenders. Right? We're not going to have a space. If you're a bartender, you get to park here now. No, that's not about that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Is this for the gaming side or the corporate side of Microsoft? This is about the industry in general. Again, that's why I use man. You guys ask questions. That's like I literally gave you an example using a car. This is technology and industries across the board. This is everything from cars to transportation to public services to games to phones, computers, hospitality, customer service in restaurants. This is a broad scoping, overarching thing across the board. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Okay. All right. Some of you guys are trying to throw in console war. I mean, it's funny. He's trying to say, but I want to try to keep this more serious. Let's see. Okay. All right. Well, this is Desmisi said podcast. I didn't get any notification. I'm sorry about that. Well, this was a last minute thing. Oh, you mean you didn't get a notification on YouTube? I don't know. YouTube is weird like that. Let's see. Any other questions? Because I think anything else to clear up. Let's see. Is this for gaming side or corporate side of Microsoft? Just asking. Yeah, like I said, this is just again understanding the industry and how to use designers to improve quality life product. That's why I use the example of this. In fact, I'll play it again. So that way you guys can see it in the background. Let's see, can I loop it? Did it playback speed? What's the loop feature? I could have sworn there was a loop feature here. Am I bugging out? I could have sworn there was a loop feature. I'm bugging out. See, I need an option to help me out figure this out. Okay, autoplay is on. Okay, whatever. But anyway, just to give you an example, again, I'll play this in the background again, right? No sound this time so you can hear my voice, but this is just an example of a quality of life feature for people who have their hands occupied. And this is the automotive feature, right? But again, this all ties into this framework. Okay. Share your link for your Discord. Okay. I'm gonna put that in right now. Hold on. I'll give it to you right now. I'll put it in the chat. Okay. Boom. You can join the Discord. This is how I do my podcast. If any of you want to hop on and chat it up every Tuesday, you are more than welcome to. Right? Everyone's welcome. All right? Into it. Right, that car thing will never fly in Europe. We use a trolley to get groceries to the car. All right. Oh snap! All right, everybody's cracking jokes. Anybody else? Anything else? Because we're gonna cut it short. All right, and then we're gonna keep it moving. But I think this will do it. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's it. All right. Going once, going twice. I think it is sold. All right. Red Shinobi said the foot thing is only helpful if you're carrying something and need help opening the door. Well, yeah. Or if you like to have your hands in your pockets. But it is something that is useful in certain scenarios and stuff like that. But other than that, I hope this live helped you out. Share this out. Hit the like button. Let me know if this was helpful and useful. Hit up the comment section. Happy 4th of July to those in America and to everybody else in the world that's watching this. I hope you have a great week and weekend. Peace, love, happiness. You know, I wish the best for you, your friends and family. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe. 60 Frames Don't Like podcast every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. You guys take care. It's time for me to go. Get ready and celebrate. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Peace.